Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Emma Golborne. I'm a product manager at HubSpot, obviously, and Kiona Highbridge is here with me, who is a product designer here. We're both in the automation group, and thank you so much for all of you for coming to this hug. We're super excited to tell you all about Journey Automation. We're going to give you a quick demo and share and answer all of your questions that you have. So just a quick overview of how we're going to do this. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Journey Automation is, why you might use it, how it's different from workflows. And then Kiana is going to give you a demo of the tool, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. I thought for a second that I said Jeremy Automation, but I did not. This chat, I need to cover this chat. Okay. So when building this tool, we really focused on the problems that we were hearing from our marketing customers around marketing automation. So we heard things like you're dealing with lots of disconnected workflows, reporting that's all over the place, and that you often have to pull and finagle manually. You're dealing with fear that your customers are having a disjointed marketing experience. Your boss is asking you if your marketing strategy is working. You have nerves when you're updating one of your workflows because you're unsure of the downstream effects it might have in some of the other workflows that you have built. And so those were the problems that we built Journey Automation around. So what is it? Journeys is an automation tool that is separate from workflows, but still consistent with automation at HubSpot. It combines the three key areas that we found our marketers are struggling with today. The first is a planning tool. So Journeys allows you to map out and visualize an end-to-end experience for your customers, whether that's from prospect to qualified lead or new customer to evangelist. You can map all of that out in one view and with a clear understanding of what your goal is. From there, you can then also determine additional experiences where leads may be dropping out of your funnel and require more nurturing. Second, it's an automation builder that is aligned specifically with the marketer's needs. So we've simplified the builder and removed a lot of the excess noise that is not relevant for marketing. And we've also focused it specifically on building experiences based on how customers are responding to and interacting with your content. And then the third, but definitely not least, is easy and fast reporting that is all accessible within the Journeys tool. This is both to visualize the flow of contacts through the entire journey, as well as an integration with customer journey reports where we auto-generate those reports for you. That, in combination with our drafts functionality, which is coming soon, Kiana will be giving you a sneak peek of that, allows for easy optimizations. And you can do all of these things all in one tool with Journeys. So what can you use it for? Journeys is really focused on letting you create personalized experiences for your customers based on how they're engaging with your brand. It's for creating experiences based on where they are and what they need at that moment. And you can do that using intent level, lifecycle stage, lead status, or however you're currently segmenting or targeting your customers. So Journeys is great for marketing strategies around lead nurturing and lead generation, onboarding experiences, re-engagement campaigns, whether that's for prospects or customers, cross-sell opportunities, upsell opportunities, any larger marketing campaigns or strategies that you're trying to automate. And Workflows is still great for your marketing operations needs. It's still there to help you with data management and updating properties, operational or process needs to help bridge gaps across teams, individual marketing communications, and it's still that flexible automation builder where you can try to solve any and all of your needs. Workflows and Journeys can work together to be a super powerful suite of automation tools for you. So Journeys is currently in private beta. We'll be going into public beta in April. It's only available for Marketing Hub Enterprise portals. And you can request, everyone with Marketing Hub Enterprise can request access in the product updates section of your portal. We're approving those portals every day. So go ahead and do that and I can approve you. And as you're using the tool, please share any and all feedback. You can do this when you're in a journey. On that bottom left of the corner, you'll see this share feedback button, and then it'll ask you for more details. If there's something that you were trying to do but couldn't, if there's something that's confusing, if there's something that you loved, we'd love to hear that too. But we're only in private beta. We're still improving this product weekly, and we would love to hear all of your thoughts. So please share. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Kiona to give you a quick demo.
All right, good stuff. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Okay, I'm just going to assume that's shared while I move through all these tabs. All right.
That looks great.
Awesome. So we're going to go on a journey together of journeys. First things first, you can find journeys in the main automation section of the nav right here. Clicking on that will bring you here to the index page. So we're going to create some journeys today. When you get started, you have 3 options. You can start from scratch, you can use a template, or get step-by-step guidance using a product tour. So we're going to start with a template. The thing to know about journeys is they're based around a single contact property, and that's going to move contacts through the journey and track their position. So we have a template for 2 different properties. We have the new journey stage property. It's completely customizable, and it's based around buyer intent levels. Or you could use the more traditional lifecycle stage property, which I will also give you a peek of. But we're going to stick with the journey stage property today. And so that brings us to the journey canvas. So here is where I will do the mapping for my entire journey, like I would in a Miro or a Lucidchart. Each of these stages is essentially a mini workflow, but like Emma said, simplified so it only has actions related to marketing use cases. And then each path ends in a type of end. So in this journey, I have people who are new contacts. I'm trying to warm them up and engage them. As they engage, I'm marking them as mid-intent. And as they engage further, I'm going to mark them as qualified. That's my goal that I'm going to continue to drive people towards. And if they aren't engaging, then I'm going to send them down this path to try to re-engage them. I'm going to mark them as in nurturing, trying to warm them up. If I'm successful, I'll send them back to this happy path down the mid-intent flow. And if I'm not successful, I'm just going to mark them as unengaged and end the journey for them. So this is using the journey stage property. And here's an example with that lifecycle stage property. So here contacts are moving from subscriber to lead to marketing qualified lead. And if they aren't engaging, I'm just marking them as other. So this should look kind of familiar, like a workflow. It's got this tree kind of branching view, but we also have this other view to focus on these engagement paths. So here I have really my happy path, the way I want contacts to be engaging with me and ultimately ending this journey. And on the right here, I have my re-engagement path. And you can see that these basically are just a single branch. So this is one path, this branch is another path. And if I were to continue adding stages on the right, then I would continue to add columns here. And this is just another way to visualize these journeys, especially as they get bigger and kind of unwieldy. So we are going to set up enrollment for this journey. I have 2 levels of enrollment to think about. I have the overall journey enrollment with these conditions that will apply to every stage in the journey. And then I have stage-specific enrollment, which we'll get to in a minute. So here for journey enrollment, I can pick up to 5 lists of contacts who will be eligible for this journey. So they may not directly enroll. This is more just filtering which contacts are even entering. And then I can pick that contact property that I'm using to move contacts through the journey. So mine's already set as journey stage, but I can change it to any other contact property. I can change it at any time. The thing to note there is the values from that property are what you will use specifically for enrollment criteria for each stage. So you want to pick one with values that you want to use for enrollment. This journey stage property is also totally customizable, so you can change the values, add values as needed. So that is your journey enrollment. And then we have the unenrollment conditions here. So I can kick contacts out of the journey if they're in a suppression list, if they're removed from these enrollment lists that I choose, or if they match an end stage early. So these are my two end stages. I have qualified and unengaged. So say I have a contact in the middle of the journey, they call up sales, they just won the lottery, they're feeling great, they want to buy all our products, and sales marks them as qualified. If I have this selected, then they'll just get kicked out of the journey at that point. If it's unselected, they will skip to this endpoint, and they will be marked as having completed the journey successfully. I can add a list here, so if I had one set up, they would get added to that list. So that's how unenrollment would work. We'll save that for now. In general, contacts can enter at any stage of the journey. So they don't have to start at new contact just because it's the first stage. If they match enrollment criteria, they can start in the middle. They can skip stages if they're updated to match criteria. The only thing is they won't re-enroll. So if someone has already gone through mid-intent, they're further along in the journey, and they're updated to match the criteria for mid-intent, they won't re-enroll. They'll just kind of wait until they do match criteria for a new stage. So we will hop into a stage. So like I said, this is basically a mini workflow, but simplified just for marketing automation. So here is where I can set up the enrollment for this specific stage. So this is journey stage equals new contact is when contacts will enroll here. And this is where I can find all those values from that contact property I chose. And because this is the first stage in the journey, I can also choose to enroll contacts without a value directly into this stage. So I will save that. And then I have these actions available to me. So I have touchpoint actions where contacts are engaging with our brand. I have process actions to manage my data and collaborate with my teammates. And I have go-to actions to add to the end of branches. So we are going to send an email. If I had SMS and WhatsApp connected, I could send all three of those at once with this action, or I can just send one. And stages are really meant to be built around contact behavior and personalizing the paths to that behavior. So I'm going to add a wait until action because I want to wait until contacts open that email I just sent them before I move them further down the stage. So we will set that up. I could also wait until they engaged with other channels like a form submission. I can wait until they visited a web page. I'm going to give them 7 days to open that email I just sent them. So my stage now is folks are enrolling when their journey stage equals new contact, as long as they were in one of those journey enrollment lists. I'm going to send them my AI email, and then I'm going to wait for them to open that email. If they open it within 7 days, they'll progress down this path and be marked as mid-intent. If they don't, they'll go down this path, be marked as in nurturing, and enroll in that stage. So you can see those two outcomes are the exact same as in the stage here, which I set up for the journey earlier. And really, I just want to keep building this out according to these behaviors. So if they're opening that email, great, they're engaging. Maybe I should send them more emails along that same AI topic. If they aren't, then I really want to customize in nurturing to their buying stage and to their behaviors. So maybe they just don't like AI. Maybe they've read too much about it and they want to read about something more generic, like dogs. Everyone loves dogs. So I can change the content that I'm focusing on in nurturing, or maybe it's the channel. They're just not engaging with email, and I can focus on social or website activity in nurturing. And I'll just continue to build those out so that they're very personalized to that stage and that behavior. All right, so let's pretend that I am ready to turn a journey on. I'm going to hop over into my lifecycle stage because that journey is all built out. And I can click this review and turn on. I can see 5 contacts are eligible for this journey, but they won't enroll unless their lifecycle stage equals subscriber or lead. I have some enrollment options here. And then I have this option down here to automatically create a reporting dashboard with customer journey reports for each stage. So we will imagine I turned that on. I'm going to hop into a journey I've already turned on and had running for a little bit. And now I want to see how it's performing. So under view, I have a couple different options. I can go to the performance page and just kind of see at a high level how many contacts are enrolling, how many are ending successfully or unsuccessfully. And I can also find my action and enrollment logs here like I would in workflows. And then back in the journey, under view, I have this metrics option. And this gives me a high-level view of how contacts are moving through the journey. So I can see 30 enrolled in this stage, 100% of those completed the stage. I can see how many went down each path. And because contacts can enroll at any stage, this is really total enrollments. So it's not telling me 0 came from new contact to a nurturing. It's telling me 0 have enrolled in a nurturing altogether. And I can follow that all the way down to the ends. But this is not what I want to see, right? I have everyone ending unsuccessfully. No one is successful. No one is in my nurturing stage. That's a bummer. So I want to dig in deeper. Under view, I have reporting. And this is where I can find those customer journey reports that I created. So I have a report for each stage. All the actions that I added to that stage will be a step in the report. And these reports are automatically added to a single dashboard that I can go and see the overall journey performance. But I'm going to preview this new contact report and find out what's going on here. So I can see how long it's taking people to finish this stage, the average time between steps. I can see how they're moving between the actions in the stage and where they're dropping off. And then down here, I have even more granular data. So I see 30 contacts did start this stage, great. 0 have gone down this path, and this was that wait until email open path. So no one's opening that email. And instead, 30 are going down the none met path, not opening the email. So that's where I'm losing everyone. They're not opening, they're ending the journey, forever lost and forgotten. I can click here and see a list of them if I want to try to re-engage these people afterwards. But that has me thinking I need to change my journey around. I'm losing everyone at this step, so I should add a stage here to recapture them and try to warm them up. Or I can edit my stage, account for other actions besides just that open email, maybe account for a form submission. But today, to do that, I would have to turn off the journey, make those edits, and turn it back on, which could be disruptive. So we wanted to give you a sneak peek of one of the new features we're working on, and also a sneak peek of updated designs that'll be coming out soon. But we are adding the ability to create drafts while the journey is on. So we're super excited about that. So in this example, my journey is on. This mid-intent stage I can see is published, so it's live for my contacts right now. But I have added this new low intent stage and it isn't live yet. I can see that it has changes. So if I come in here, this is my new stage that I've just created. And I can see at the top that I have unpublished changes. If I click on that, it's just telling me that my changes have been saved while the journey is on and that I have to review and publish for them to go live. And it's also telling me all changes will go live at once. So I've just added this one stage, but if I had added 3 or edited actions in another stage, if I review and publish, everything is going to go live together. So I'm going to do that. I can see this is my current draft. I have updated it today. I can compare it to the last version I published on October 20th if I want. But I also have just a quick summary of the changes that have been made and that will go live. I can see the changes to the overall journey. I can see that I created this stage and added an action there. So I will go ahead and publish those changes. I can see they went live. My journey is still on, but now this stage is published as well. So I can just continue to update and optimize my journey, especially as I'm like watching those behaviors and seeing where contacts are engaging. I can just continually optimize without ever having to turn the journey off and disrupt that flow. So that is journeys in a nutshell. And we will open things up for questions.
All right. a lot of love in the chat if you haven't been watching. People really like what you guys have built, so congrats on that. I was not joking when I talked to you earlier that you should hydrate for this next part. I hope you have water to drink. We currently have 43 questions in the Q&A, and we haven't even asked people to start asking questions. So if everyone wants to go over to the Q&A, ask questions, upvote the ones you like. We will work most upvoted to least upvoted, and we'll get through as many as we can in the time we have left. Thank you, Emma and Kiona, for leaving so much time for Q&A. Definitely a good strategy for a session like this. So I'll let everyone have a few seconds here to look through the Q&A, upvote your favorites, ask any questions you think were overlooked. If you asked something in the chat earlier and you didn't get an answer, move it over to the Q&A now, because I'm just going to be looking at the Q&A the whole rest of this time. So yeah, we'll call that good. All right, so here we go. I will sort this most voted. Come to the top.
Classic.
You may be anticipating this one. 61 upvotes. Can we get Journey Automation on Marketing Pro and not just Enterprise?
Journey Automation is only available for Marketing Hub Enterprise today.
Very diplomatic.
It is very diplomatic, and I won't push you on that. But I do want to point out that this is tied very closely with Journey Reports, which I believe is an enterprise feature. I really appreciate Chris being in the chat, ringing the gong of like, this is actually a really cool feature and it deserves to be an enterprise. HubSpot often goes through this motion of introducing an enterprise and then bringing a lighter weight version down to pro sometime in the future. I'm not going to ask Emma or Kiona to commit to that. I'm just going to say these are patterns I've perceived in HubSpot. So if Marketing Hub Enterprise is a true and eternal blocker for you, don't despair. But also, I would say don't expect this to change between now and when it hits public beta in April.
Yes. No, but we definitely hear you all. So it's still great feedback to share. So
yeah.
But yes.
That question now has 67 upvotes.
My diplomatic answer.
No, I think that is wise. Better to err on the side of diplomacy than to make promises HubSpot is not going to deliver. Joshua asks, guidance and best practices for migrating from our many, many workflows, forms, and pipeline automations to Journey Automation.
Yes, we definitely have been thinking about this a lot. So we would love to hear, I guess, from you all, because I know a lot of you have tons of things already built out in workflows, especially. So is this, I guess I'll kind of, I don't know if I can do it this way and you can respond in DMs, but I think, or not DMs, chats, there's so many options here.
Yeah.
I guess what I would be curious of is like, would you be wanting to just kind of migrate workflows over to journeys, or would you want to use journeys for something different? I guess I'd love to learn a little bit more about like what you would be envisioning there.
Joshua, since you asked the question, I would be willing to bring you on stage if you have a working camera and mic, and that is something you're comfortable doing. Let me know. Sure, he says. All right, now I just got to figure out how to make that happen.
Because we also had someone tell us that they don't necessarily want to move over all of their workflows, but would rather know if a journey is doing something that is already built in workflows to help with like deduplication type thing. So I would love to learn more.
All right. Is my mic audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'm not on my fancy setup. The number one thing that I see when I've looked at the public beta and at the demo is, you know, those of us who have been working in portals for a long time have tried to build this out of a collection of automations via workflow, managing lifecycle if we use the lead object, and then automating also on top of, for high touch sales, the on top of it, like a deal pipeline, right? Like we nurture somebody through they're like research, interest, activation, and then marketing does like sales enablement, excuse me, and support once we have a deal created. And this seems like when it hits GA is going to be a much better solution for that. But as is often the case over the last year, and I think for the next year, we are getting a lot of killer features that make the workarounds and things that we've done obsolete, which is fantastic, but it's a huge burden to figure out how we either re-implement those or pick and choose as we update the things that we move over. And so if there's any thinking around the best methodology for that, or if working with folks during the beta, you've looked at like what that kind of impact would be, because particularly like the additional features and a lot of the like enrollment, both with the automation as a whole and then within each particular stage is constrained in different ways than what we've been doing, but also more sophisticated and more powerful. So, a lot of that's going to be like, well, we do our nurturing through lead to MQL to SQL lifecycle stages this way. And now we have to map that into the journey automation framework if we want to take advantage of all of those things. So it seems like a big lift that will be worth it, but it's hard to sort that out kind of starting from scratch.
Yeah, we definitely hear that. I think it's something that our team is digging into, and I don't know if we'll have a solution for the public beta in April, but it's definitely a high priority for us to determine the best way to make it easy for you if you already have everything built out in workflows, how to easily like leverage those things in journeys, because it's not always going to be a one-to-one swap. It's not like whatever you have built in workflows may not actually work for you in journeys, but
right.
I think just getting you at a starting place seems like the good solution there.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, with this is one of the features that I put in the category of like, thank goodness that these things are coming. They obviate a lot of the work that we've done, but there's so many workflows that I would love to create with a holistic end-to-end solution like this, but it's not a great solution to just, plug a workflow or a list that enrolls in a workflow into each one of those stages, because they don't get the power of journeys, right? So it's trying to figure out if we all had a fresh portal every time a killer new feature like this launched, that would be easy to implement, right? But we don't.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. This was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So one observation I will offer on that same vein is if your team built something that helps people somehow convert or import or transpose workflows into journeys, it would not merely be valuable at this time of transition, because as long as journey automation is an enterprise feature, anytime someone upgrades from pro to enterprise, they would have to go through that same motion of the things they built in workflows potentially mapping over to journeys. So could be a good long-term investment.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, back to the Q&A. Oh my goodness. Okay, give me a second. Sort. There we go. All right. Next up, what's the difference between a lifecycle stage and a journey stage?
They're just different properties. We created journey stage because lifecycle stage is like a bigger jump between the different values of that property. And so journey stage is based more maybe on like intent level versus like phase of the life cycle. So we added options like low intent, mid intent, things like that. It just kind of, if you are using lead status, if you're using a custom property, you can use whichever one. Journey stage is more just focused on intent level, and life cycle stage is more just like where in the life cycle that contact may be. So it's just another property we created in case it's helpful.
Got it. And one of you, maybe you, Kiona, mentioned it is customizable. Are the stages we saw in your demo, Kiona, the default ones, or had you customized those?
Yeah, I showed the default ones. But yeah, lifecycle stage, the HubSpot property is not customizable. So if you want to have a customizable option, you can start from journey stage as well.
I think the lifecycle stage property is customizable.
It is now, yeah, but it touches so many other things. I can imagine journey stage is a lower stakes place to just introduce new options on an experimental basis.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was the other reason is people may have life cycle stage intertwined with a lot of other processes. So if you want to start off with something a little bit less risky, then journey stage is a good one to start with.
Got it. Josefina asks, are you able to add a journey to a campaign?
Yes. Well, you can associate a stage of a journey to a campaign. So when you,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So we think of like a campaign as being more of the stage level, where journeys you can help like connect different campaigns, if you will.
Whoa. That's
so
really cool.
you can associate a stage to a campaign.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's not like if you go into the campaigns tool and click add asset, you can add a workflow today. You can't do that with a journey or a journey stage right now, although we are curious if you would like to be able to do that. But yeah, I didn't show it in the demo, but when you're in one of those stages, there's a settings button in the top right, and you can associate the campaign.
Can you show us that real
within.
quick?
Yeah, that's just
Sorry to put you on the
second.
spot, but
No problem. All right. Right up here, I have the settings button. I can associate campaign with my stage. And then that's going to show me if I'm using emails that aren't already in the
oh,
campaign.
wow.
I can see that in here too.
That feels so HubSpot-y, crafted, not cobbled to me. I love it.
Thanks. That's what we're going for.
Well done. Okay, Salim asks, will there be a way to migrate between standard workflow tool and the new journeys tool? I think we covered that. Salim, if you have follow-up questions, hop in the chat, let us know. Oliver says, okay, we do the same with workflows right now. I still don't really get the differentiation. Besides, it's narrowed down to a customer journey and can therefore look a bit clearer. Can you explain?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the way I kind of went over it is like, yes, you can do a lot of this in workflows, but workflows is not necessarily built to kind of follow a contact easily through an entire like end-to-end experience. So you're probably building it in like 5 to 10 different workflows. You're putting those workflows in folders in the index page. You're using naming conventions. You're pulling data from the workflows, from the asset tools. You're creating custom reports. It's just kind of all over the place and in different locations. You're not really sure what your goal is of all of those. And so that's like what we're trying to accomplish here with journeys is bringing that into a much cleaner and more like marketing focused tool, so that all of that is much easier for you to manage, especially like as teams get bigger and there's more people working in your automation tools in HubSpot. Managing all of those different workflows gets a lot harder to do. And so that's kind of what we're going for here with journeys. And, you know, we're just in private beta. We'll continue to be adding very specific marketing features to journeys. That's like kind of what we're focusing on moving forward with this tool. So I think it'll only like expand for the different like use cases and problems that it will solve. Did that
Cool.
answer the question, or did I just...
I think it did. Oliver, if you have follow-up questions, again, hop in the chat. Let us know. Andrea asks, can a contact be in multiple journeys, say for different lines of business?
Yes, you can't use the same list and property for multiple journeys. But yes, a contact could be in multiple lists and be in multiple journeys, therefore. So that's why we have some of that unenrollment capabilities to help you like prevent that if you need to. But yes, you can be in multiple journeys.
Great.
Or a contact can be in multiple journeys.
How do we think about multiple contacts from the same company, like in an ABM context in this model?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I kind of would like to ask you how you would like to think about that. Right
It's
now,
Joshua again. We can bring him back on.
right now, it's only for contacts. I mean, would you just like to see like all of the journey that all of the contacts for a specific company have gone through? Would you I'm curious how you would like to have that work, Joshua, but sorry if you don't want to come back on camera or comment in the chat.
The one feature I can think of that sort of rhymes with this is in sequences, there's a toggle switch or a checkbox or something. You can unenroll all contacts from a company if one of them responds and books a meeting or whatever. I don't know. I have not had time to form an opinion on whether that would make sense for this journey-based thing. If once one contact makes it to qualified or whatever, if all contacts from the company, that would.
Yeah. If you have requests, please share it in the feedback section of journeys. Though the one thing we have heard from customers is being able to see like where all your contacts for a certain company are in a journey. But I think that unenroll that you just talked about, Kyle, is a great option too. So definitely more room for us to explore there. Same with like the leads object. There's definitely more for us to do there as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Waylon asks, what happens if a contact is merged with another while in a journey? Does the outcome depend on where the in-journey contact is, or what direction the merge is done, or both? These are admin type questions.
That is a good question.
You got it, Waylon.
I want to say we would do similar to however Workflows does it, but we don't have a super accurate answer for that question.
Something to take back and test, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, totally fair.
You got it. Right.
Martin asks, what is the difference between journey automation and workflow? That we answered that, I think, in an earlier question. Martin, if you still have questions, let us know in the chat. But I feel good about, Emma, the answer you gave earlier. So let's move on for the sake of getting through as many of these questions as we can. Is the journey tool only usable for contact or companies, or also for custom objects? So it is contacts only, right?
Contacts only. Custom objects is interesting. We hadn't thought about that yet. But yeah, if custom objects could be interesting, then please let us know more about it in the chat. But yeah, just contacts for now.
Do we only have to use marketing emails for this, or could sales templates be used?
Just marketing emails for now.
Cool. Erica says, can we see fields related to the journey automation on the contact level, i.e. on a contact record, can we see a list of the journeys or stages they are part of? We struggle so much with campaigns not having this kind of data to report on. So like, again, with sequences, there's like a now in sequence property that lets you know if they're currently enrolled.
Yeah. Kiona, do you remember? We've talked about this quite a lot.
I don't know off the top of my head. We want it to be. So if it isn't, that is something we are definitely looking into.
Yes, it is definitely. Yeah, we have talked about this a lot. I don't know I can't remember where we landed on this, but it is something that we will have for sure.
Cool.
So it doesn't show today, and we'll show the specific stage as well, because I think that would be more helpful than just knowing the journey as a whole.
Yeah. Willem asks, I can imagine there are many potential actions missing. For example, setting a contact as a marketing contact, creating a lead record when engaged, or adding branching based on language at the start of the journey. How do you decide which actions to include and which to leave out? I think that's a question about you as the team building this. How have you made those decisions?
We are actually going to be adding a lot more actions. We just started off initially with a handful that we knew were the most important, but we will for sure be adding a lot more as well, and we'll be continuing to add more. So yeah, if there's a key action that you think is missing, please let us know, but we will be adding a lot more of the actions.
Great.
Definitely got a lot of shout outs about adding the custom object in the chat, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Good to
Okay.
know. Something to explore.
Yeah.
Stacy asks, and I saw this a lot in the chat during your demo, Kiona, are drafts coming to workflows as well as the journey tool?
They are not on the workflows roadmap right now, but never say never.
Yeah. I mean, once built somewhere in HubSpot, hopefully it can be used elsewhere.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Are the journey reports going to be similar to the funnel reports and require a filter of contact create date to find contacts? With the funnel reports, they only look at contacts that meet the step criteria and were created during a certain time frame. The time frame filter is required, but does not allow for all, which greatly limits our ability to use that funnel report feature. I'd like to know if the journey reports will have the same contact create date auto filter. I'm hoping not. Smiley face. Thank you.
Well, Lindsay, you have also stumped us.
Okay.
We will also follow up on this one. We can ask the journey reports team about this filter, because I'm not totally sure actually. But it's good to know that that's a limitation, because we want to solve for that for sure. I'm going to screenshot this.
Okay. Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, I was warning you because I figured you'd be
Does Daniel asks, does this work with just lifecycle stages or also with lead statuses and other custom properties?
Yep, any contact properties it works with, custom or existing ones, or like built-in. What do we call non-custom properties?
Standard, maybe. I heard one of you say that, but then I personally got a little confused. I think, Kiona, during your demo, when you first started, there was like that slide out bar that came and you could select either the lifecycle stage or journey stage options. So if you want it based on lead status or something else, is there like an other, or were those templates, or?
Yeah, those are just the two templates we have right
Okay, got
now.
it.
So you can swap those inside too.
Got it. So if you start from scratch, you select whatever property you want, and that's where the stages come from. I assume it has to be an enumeration property. That's probably the one limitation.
I think that's true, yeah.
Okay. Willem asks, how does this work together with the life cycle stages? I think we've covered that a little bit. You can automate based on life cycle stage. If you're doing journey stage or lead status or something else, life cycle stage would not be affected, right? It would just be separate from that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, there is the set property action or edit record. Maybe it's renamed. So if you're using a different property, you can also update lifecycle stage throughout the stage builder.
Oh,
if you want.
nice. Cool. How do journey automations interact with pipelines and deals? Looks like we're ending at MQL.
No, you can, I mean, kind of along the same line, like you can have these journeys go across the entire life cycle. So you can have these marketing experiences while someone's going through like the deal process. So I don't know if you have anything more to add to that, Kiona, but.
Yeah, I mean, they don't interact with like deal pipeline automation, and they are contact only automation right now. So they don't interact with them directly, but you can have marketing stages that account for, you can make your own stage or use a different contact property. You could also have stages for once someone's a customer and you're onboarding them and continuing to market to them and upselling.
Nice. Yeah. How would we layer in handoffs between journeys and regular workflows?
Yeah, so at the end of journeys, you can add them to a list and then use that list in workflows. We are adding the enroll in a workflow action to journeys at some point. So that will simplify that. We're also currently building an enroll in a journey. Wow, I'm giving away all the secrets right now. We're currently building an enroll in a journey action for workflows. So you should be able to like kind of control the movement of your contacts between both tools.
But even without that workflows action, if you set their journey stage or whatever property to the particular part and added them to whatever list, they would enroll, right?
Yes, exactly. That's a good point. Like everything is still kind of based off of properties and lists. So everything can still be used in both tools, essentially.
Got it. With regards to drafts, how do changes affect contacts who are in affected stages? Delays, etc., would move to the next step. Emails are sent immediately, hoping for a way to understand impacts before hitting save.
Well, we have right now, we've launched a feature. When you go to turn off a journey, you can decide what happens when you turn it off. You can have contacts go to the end of the stage where they'll wait until you turn it back on and they'll pick up the journey, or you can just stop them in their tracks. They don't progress any further. So I would have to double check, but I think it would work the same as the first is, I guess as soon as you publish a draft, like in workflows today, if you make changes to a running workflow, it's live for everyone there immediately. So once those changes are live, it's live for contacts. So they'll finish up whatever action they're in the middle of and then move on to whatever is the next step once it's live for them.
Cool. We have yet another question, the difference between workflows and journeys and how to decide when to use which. This was my question when I first heard about this project launching. And so I think this is going to be a place of education for me and HubSpot Academy to iron out as this launches and goes live. Kelly asked if she can have access to your deck.
I think maybe we just leave it to the recording that's shared.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
That is okay with me. How does each journey segment via business units? Only by lists?
Yeah, right now it's just lists, but business units is definitely something we'll be building into the tool as well, similar to like how we do it in workflows as well. But right now it's just lists.
Jeanette asks about, with new privacy regulations, can we trust the email opens and clicks data anymore?
That is probably a better question for the emails team.
I know it's something we've been thinking a lot about at HubSpot. Maybe Jeanette, maybe I will take this as an assignment to get that team to come present here at the Admin Hug, because I think there's a lot to dig into. We did have a session with them a year or so ago, and it's probably time to revisit it. I'll let you guys off the hook on that one.
Thank you.
To confirm, this only applies to contacts that are set as marketing contacts, correct?
We don't have like a sweeping filter, so you can still have contacts in that list that are not marketing contacts, but it will work similar to workflows in that you will see errors if you're trying to do things to marketing contacts that you're not allowed to do.
Got it. Is there like does Journey Automation have like an errors log page similar to workflows? And
yeah, so it's in the details or the performance page. There's like the performance tab and then the action logs and enrollment logs tab. So very similar to workflows.
Cool. Lucy is also asking about the pros and cons of using Journey Automation versus workflows. More assignments for me. I'm not sure I understand this question. Can we show content on Content Hub based on these journeys a user should experience? I wonder if this is talking about smart content that you can display web pages differently. Since Journey Stage is a property, I assume.
Oh, like personalization?
Yeah.
We have been talking to a lot of different teams over there, but I'm not sure if it'll work out of the box right now. We can check on that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not an expert on smart content, but I assume since Journey Stage is just another property, you could have different variations of a web page based on someone's.
Yeah, I'm sure you could maybe finagle something there.
Can you go over the difference between journeys and workflows? I think just the fact of the matter is there were more than 50 questions in here and people couldn't see that the same question had been, that would have been maybe our most upvoted question, more than even bringing this into pro, if we had a better way of organizing this, but there's going to be a common question, I think. Are there any complementary features with Ops Hub?
No, but I would love to hear which features you would like to use alongside it. I mean, I guess Again, because everything is built off of like properties and lists, you can always just kind of use workflows in tandem with journeys and use whatever ops hub features you want in workflows or the features outside of workflows. But I'd be curious what you had in mind there, Robert.
What are the permission settings around this? Can anyone view and edit?
No. So right now we just have it available. You have to be super admins, but we are building out more permissions, which will go live for April public beta, which are, I think, view, create, edit, and publish.
Amazing.
More secrets. Just spelling them out.
Why is there a limit on the number of lists you can enroll? I believe you said you can choose up to 5. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
We honestly didn't hear people wanting to use too many lists. So we had a limit because you can't reuse lists and the property across multiple journeys. So that just limits the ability for you to be limited in the journeys that you can create.
So if there wasn't a limit, and if I create a journey that uses literally every list in my portal, then I cannot build any more journeys.
Yes. Well, not with that contact property. You could use a different
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. So if I'm moving through a different contact property, I can then reuse a list.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you'd like to use more than 5 lists, also let us know. I mean, we're taking all the requests. We are in early stages.
Yeah, private
We
beta,
change
friends.
everything.
Now's the time. Can we dream for a minute that AI is going to be able to recommend us when a workflow could be upgraded or migrated into journey automation?
That is a great dream. That's a good one. You can think about that. Yes.
Why should a company use journey automation instead of just using workflows? Got it. I think we've touched on that. Are there error notifications in journeys like in workflows? I didn't quite ask that question. Are there notifications for if things are failing?
Not yet, I don't think, but we are adding issues similar to workflows where you will be able to see those and set up notifications for them.
Nice.
We just don't have them yet.
Cool. This is a long question from Christopher Hughes. Can you tell us how to roll up properties from the contact to the company? My org is trying to build an overall customer score, and we are having difficulty calculating all of the contact properties and rolling them up to the company level and giving us a score, i.e. you already have a property, marketing contacts at company level, so I'm looking for a way to expand that property. Any help is appreciated. And if anyone has any ideas, please let me know. I'm not convinced that's a journey automation question. But I did. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead.
I was gonna say I did while at some point during the demo, I did see in the chat people asking about scores and like how to. There is some general sense of wanting to understand how all this moves together. I liked what you mentioned. I think Emma, it was you earlier, mentioned some sort of visibility into at the company level who's in a journey and where are they in those journeys. And I think having journey progress affect company level lead scores and things would be cool. Just more connectivity in general, I would guess, is what we're looking, and visibility is what we're looking for.
No, I definitely agree with that. It's definitely conversations that we're already having, because I know this overlaps a lot with lead scoring, and then you have life cycle stages, and you have lead status, and you have the leads object, and all those different things, and companies and contacts, and like being able to, I know people have different business units and different products, and being able to see where contacts are for all of those different things in a more streamlined way is super important. So it's something we're thinking about. It's a good question, but we don't have a solution for it yet.
Okay, I think this is going to be our last question. We are coming up on time. You guys were worried you left too much time for Q&A.
I know, so naive.
Will we be able to use lead scoring to move contacts to different stages?
Yeah, because with lead scoring, you can turn those into like properties as well. So again, because journeys is based off of properties, you could also finagle that. But lead scoring is something we would love to learn more about. Again, turning the question back on you, like how you would like to see journeys and lead scoring interact more. We've gotten a lot of very mixed feedback on that, because some people say that lead scoring should just kind of work in the background, and journeys can help kind of increase your lead score or move your content towards like higher, or contact towards higher lead scores, I guess. Or we've heard like a lot of very mixed things there. So we'd love to hear if you have very specific suggestions or ideas for how you'd want to see them interact together. But lead scoring is another area that we're planning to dig into a little bit more after we launch in April.
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds great. And I would say at a very rudimentary level, you could build a workflow that's just like, if lead score is between this range, move journey to this stage. And that would, but yeah.
You can use it in lists, and then you can map the lead score to the property that you're using in Journey.
Oh yeah.
Like
if your list involves lead score, then you get that for free.
Yeah, like there's lots of things you can do today with it. But I think we'd also like to have maybe a more opinionated or structured way to do it in the future. So we're open.
All right. Well, we are at time. Thank you both so much. I will export out the entire Q&A and the chat for you and your team to dig through. Thanks everyone for being here, for joining us for this session of the Hubspot Admins Hug. Hope to see you all back next week, and go enjoy your Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
Everybody. See you
Bye.
next week.
Bye.